Hey, what's going on YouTube? Welcome back to another video. As you can see here in front of me, I got my cover out of my Yamaha 250. This is out of my Ranger 620 VS boat, and I purchased the boat last year from an auction, and the cover looks like this. Last year was kind of late to start fixing it, so now that we have winter over here, I thought that I'll give this a shot and see how it's going to turn out. Before I start patching this thing up, I'm just gonna walk you kind of around the whole thing and see what kind of damage sustained. So we have this whole crack which starts from here all the way to the bottom, and then as I turn it around, there is more damage onto this side of it. So right here we have another crack that starts from here and it goes all the way to about here. We got another one here that's about, I'll say maybe 7 inches. We got a poke right here. There's a lot of damage throughout, so I'll start first by cleaning the cowling, and we'll go from there. Now, why am I doing this? Well, I don't know if you guys know, but a cowling of this size, this thing is massive, by the way. This is a V6 4.2 liters. A cowling of this size, if you buy it from Yamaha these days, will run you about $3,500. So I am not in the mood of paying that $3,500 for a cowling, so that's why I'm attempting to fix this one. First thing I'm gonna do is I'm going to start cleaning this thing. I'm using some acetone, so I'm gonna clean this cover the best I can before I start working on it. Last year when I used the boat, I used some tape to kind of hold it together and finish the season, because I purchased the boat towards the end of the season. And I have some, once I removed the tape, I had some residue that kind of stuck to the cover, so now I'm just trying to remove all that residue from that tape. And then after I'm done with that, I'm going to use one of those 3M decal removers. It's kind of like a rubber wheel that 3M makes. You put it in your drill, and I'm gonna remove all these old stickers off the cover. I'm going to flip this cover upside down. So what I want to do next is I want to remove this plenum over here, and I'm also going to clean this whole inside, and I'll be using some strong tape to kind of keep this cover together on this side while I work on the other side of it. Okay, so I'm using a 10 mil. Let's pull this cover off. So this big piece is put in the same way. It's got this channel and it's got this gasket going around, which I think is more like a sealant. And this piece is broken too, right here. So I'm gonna look for another piece to replace it. So I'm gonna clean this side pretty good also, because this is the side where I'm gonna put the tape that's gonna hold the cover together while I work on the other side. So the reason I took that plenum out is, as you can see here, I hope the camera picks this up. This side of the cover is supposed to be under this side, and it's the other way around. Somehow they shift it, and I cannot line everything up properly. So I'm gonna try to kind of shift them and see if I can scooch this piece under the other one without breaking it anymore. Okay, so after pulling on it a little bit, I managed to line them up properly. And now I'm going to flip this cover over. I'm gonna start taping it on the other side, kind of hold it together before I start grinding this crack in. So after cleaning this whole side, I'm going to use some tape to hold it together. And believe it or not, one of the stickiest tapes out there and the strongest is the Tyvek tape, the one that you use on the home wrap. From experience, I know this tape is very strong and it sticks really good to surfaces. So I'm gonna be using this tape to tape this whole crack together. Putting some pressure from the other side. Okay. I'm gonna use some perpendicular to the crack to make sure that the two sides doesn't spread while I work on the other side. I mean, you can use any type you want, any tape you want. I mean, you can use any tape you want. It's all up to you. If you have another preference, then use what you like. I found for me that this tape is kind of the best on holding things together. Okay, flip the cover over so now you can see how well the sides are held together by the tape on the other side. Now when you work on this, you're gonna have to monitor, you're gonna have to kind of, you know, as long as you go, you're gonna have to kind of check if they are still lined up perfectly and make sure that you're not, you know, having one side sticking too far out from the other or things like that. So let me grab that rubber wheel and start removing the stickers in this area where I'm going to work. Okay, let's give this a shot. So this is the wheel I was talking about. It's a 3M decal remover wheel. Let's see how well this works. Does a really good job. Actually, does a really good job without even damaging your paint. As you can see, I was able to remove that sticker. Let me get it close up. Pretty good. Left a little bit of glue residue, but that can be removed pretty easily. I got this 3M wheel off of Amazon. I'm gonna put some links in the description below for some of these products I'm gonna use in this video. You guys can go ahead and check them out. Next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna mask this nice emblem over here, Yamaha emblem, because I don't want to be messing it up with some acetone or who knows, hit it with a grinder by mistake and then mess it up. So emblem messed out. Let's move on. I got my sander set up with some 40 grit paper. I'm using my Festool RO150 to get this done, and I'm gonna try to sand this down kind of like in a V shape towards the crack from top all the way to the bottom, and then go from there. As much as I would like to finish this whole thing in one shot, it's kind of impossible because I put a clamp down here to kind of hold it together, and I don't want it to be moving too much, so I'm gonna do it in two shots. I'll start from the top here, and I'll go all the way to about here. And I already cut my piece of chap strand, and I'm gonna cover the crack from top to bottom like that. And then I'll come with a second coat that's gonna overlap about half an inch on each side of this, and that will make it really strong. For laminating, I'm gonna be using Total Boat laminating resin, and this will allow me to put coat after coat without sanding. To start with, I'll be mixing just about an ounce. That should be enough for my first coat. Mixing an ounce of resin with about 7-8 drops of MEKP. So let's get this going. Okay, I mixed my resin and my hardener pretty good. So now I'm gonna soak this area a little bit before I put the mesh on, because if you apply it dry, you're gonna have a hard time getting it to stick to the material. So I'll be soaking this out first with some resin, and then I'll be applying the chop strand mesh. So let's give it a nice coat. I'm using all this one-time use brushes, nothing fancy. And after I put the mat, I'm just gonna dab the mat into the resin. Okay, it's going good so far. Let's finish this up. I think that's about the end of my mat. Let's apply the mesh. We'll start on the top here and then follow the crack a little bit down. That's good for a first coat. You should not be using your hands, use some gloves or something, but sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do to get things done. Okay, so I already started the dabby dab thing. So you just dab the resin into the mesh, and I'm trying to kind of push it with my brush to kind of have the mesh kind of center with the crack I have. Once it's wet, it's easier for you to kind of mold it to the shape you have. So yeah, I got it pretty good. It's pretty good in there. I'm just gonna finish up all the way down with this first coat, and then we'll see how it looks, and we'll cut a second piece and do a second coat. So I cut a bigger piece, overlapping piece, and now I'm just going to laminate it in top of the first one I put there. I'm not worried if it's gonna go over the sanded section, as all that is gonna sand once I get to that part. And here I'm stopping a little bit shorter than the first section so I can overlap them, so I'll have a good connection once I have the other bottom part done. It is the next day, and I will continue with this short section over here, kind of wrap it up So let's get to work. Okay, I'm done with the sanding. I'm just gonna clean this up with a little bit of acetone. I mixed up about, I think, 3/4 ounces to about an ounce of resin, and I'm going to start the laminate again for the bottom section here. I had a stress crack right here, and I'm going to incorporate that too into the laminate. And I'm going to saturate the area a little bit, so once I put the mesh, it's going to stick pretty good to the cover here. Okay. Okay, that's my first layer, and now I'm going to embed this into the cover, and here I overlapped it about an inch over the old over the section I did the other day. Now I just tap. We gotta get this nicely done. I'm done with the first layer. Now I'm going to scuff this up on the edges a little bit, just so when I sand it, it will sand nice. Okay, now let's get the second layer on. Well, that's pretty much it. Now it's just a waiting game until tomorrow again. So I'll come back tomorrow. It's the third day. The resin dried up pretty good. I covered it with some polyvinyl alcohol when it was hard to the touch, and this sealed it up from the air, oxygen, and made it harden up. Okay, I've been sanding for the past 30-40 minutes. This is how everything looks after the sanding. You want to make sure that right here where the resin ends and your cover starts, there is perfect blending, there is no bumps or anything like that. And I went and did that all the way to the top. It's been a couple days. Finally I'm done with all the fiberglassing. There was a lot of areas that had to be repaired. As you can see here, I had cracks on top everywhere, and it's pretty much the same story on the other side. But this is how the repair turned out. The areas where I applied the resin and the mesh, and this is how they look after I sanded them down pretty even. So right now what I'm trying to do is I'm going to clean all these areas up with some acetone. I roughed up the areas where I had some deeper scratches too, I'm going to clean these areas with some acetone, and then I'm going to be using some polyester fairing compound to blend all these areas in and get rid of all the imperfections that are still into the surface here after the fiberglass work. I'll be mixing the fairing compound in top of one of these cardboard pieces I have from a box I cut up, and the mixing rate is about, I think it says right here on the can, 14 to 16 drops of MEKP to every ounce of fairing compound. So I'm gonna be mixing a little bit. I don't want to mix too much at once. I want to see how fast it dries up, so I'll be going easy at it. I'll just mix a little bit, see how that goes, and then I will have an idea of my work time. I'm pretty sure I'm not going to be able to get this in one coat. Probably going to have to come back and give it another coat. Pretty sure I'm gonna have to come back and hit it one more time. So if you keep going at it, you're gonna keep messing it up. So it's better to just leave it, sand it, and then fill up the imperfections later. It's been a couple days since I applied the fairing compound, and because it's been so cold in the garage here, I had about 50 some degrees. It took about two days for this thing to dry up pretty good. So now it's got a hard surface, it can be sanded. So I'm gonna prep my sander with some 120 or maybe 150 grit and go at it, see where we end up. Been sanding for the past hour or so, and this is how it looks after the first sanding of the first coat of the fairing compound. Now I knew it's not going to be perfect after the first coat, so now I just wiped it off with some acetone, and I'm going to go at it and apply a second coat of fairing compound. For some reason the camera stopped working and I lost all footage after the last clip. So these are some pictures that I took with my phone during the painting stage. After all the sanding was done, I applied 2 coats of high build primer, and then 2 coats of I think it was 08D Yamaha paint, and 2 coats of clear. And for those of you who wondered what happened to the inside, I did the same exact thing on the inside of the cowling as I did on the outside. I'm going to end this video with a clip of me fishing for salmon, and in this clip you will be able to see exactly how this cowling turned out. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you have any comments, you can post them on the comment section below. As always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.